What do you genuinely believe happens after death? Nothing, even though I would like it if there was some nice afterlife. I agree, and I believe that is the right answer. I don't think it is for us to know. I believe that is incumbent upon us to do our best with what we can control in the time we have. Anything beyond that, be it in our lifetimes or not, is none of our concern right now. Imagine wrapping ignorance in the tissue-thin paper of false humility and thinking this doesn't make you look like a sophomore doofus. If other people's approach to death makes you this upset, you need to face your own existential thoughts, my dude. As of right now, we have no way of really knowing what we are going to go through when we die, so why concern ourselves with it? Imagine being a smarmy **SHOLE to such a degree that you feel the need to conjure up such quasi-edgy, judgmental drivel just to try and put someone down on the internet. If you feel put down by the truth, what does that say about you? Oh, I don't feel put down at all. But rest assured your sardonic, juvenile quip certainly has nothing to do with truth. If there's any truth in this thread, it's that, well, you're an **SHOLE. So I'm ignorant for thinking that it's beyond us to understand what happens after death. Or the fact that I think there are things I'll never understand means I'm not humble. I stated what I honestly believe. If you disagree, that's cool. You are entitled to your opinion. I don't know why you're so worked up or what you're hoping to get out of insulting me, but okay. For some reason it bugs me when people say that. It's like saying we genuinely don't know what 2 + 2 is. Yes, we do. It's 4. There is no reason to believe anything else, and saying I genuinely don't know is implying that the question is somehow more complex or nuanced than that. It is not open-minded or questioning everything to reject the obvious answer. When we die, we cease to be conscious. There is nothing. Same as before we were born. There is no reason to believe otherwise. It's okay to say I know this. One might argue that we can't know anything, because technically it's still possible that I'm just a brain in a vat, or reality is just a simulation, or we were all created by a cosmic wizard or some other non-falsifiable theory, but that doesn't mean we should toss the concept of knowing things out the window. I'm not sure I understand what bugs you about that response. Op posted a question with no concrete answer, not an easily solvable math problem. Although I find the notion that there is nothing after death plausible, we still don't know that there's nothing. Sure, your bodily functions stop functioning, but obviously Op is looking for a more in-depth answer here. For all we know, there truly could be an afterlife. We could also be reincarnated instead. There's really no real way of telling until we face death for ourselves. For all we know, there truly could be an afterlife. What can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And for all we know, there is no such thing as an afterlife. Okay, but my point still stands. No, you simply gave an example of what I'd consider an invalid argument. An unfalsifiable claim without evidence. You did the exact same thing by stating with utmost certainty that there is nothing after death. You also gave a half-handed analogy to a math equation that doesn't even apply to a question as subjective as this one. There is nothing "obvious" about what lies after death. The only certainty we have is death itself, something that, again, doesn't even answer Op's question. The claim that there is no afterlife is falsifiable. You could, for example, find a way to measure souls leaving bodies, or formulate an experiment where you retrieve lost information from dead people by dying in a controlled manner and being resuscitated afterwards. The claim that there is an afterlife which we can't see unless we are permanently dead is not falsifiable. Saying there's no way for me to disprove an afterlife makes it a non-falsifiable claim. Otherwise, please tell me what could possibly happen for you to have certainty. There is, however, plenty of evidence that the brain generates consciousness. Forming an opinion based on what's observed and measured is as close to utmost certainty as you can get. Inventing supernatural stories that require magic to work doesn't invalidate scientific consensus. Agnostic here. How do you know that your body is all there is to you? That is, you don't have a soul of some sorts? I'd say the burden of proof lies with the one who claims that souls exist. There is zero indication that there is such a thing. We can measure brain waves, and when certain parts of the brain are damaged, the corresponding functions are impaired or gone, which to me is a very strong indicator that our consciousness is tied to our brains. I think death is the end of the line. Just finality, but in a serene way I can't really explain, like it's scary, but also a comforting thought. I like to picture it like going to sleep after you've been fighting sleep for so long. You can barely keep your eyes open, and then eventually without even registering that you're asleep. That's what I picture after death. Sleep without realizing you're asleep. No more consciousness. After that we only exist in memory. Death is easy. It's propoful, except you don't wake up later to ponder how weird it was that all that time passed without you knowing. Sounds like philosophy. Everything is philosophy. Can I ask how you are able to find serenity in that finality? For me, it's terrifying BC like, what if I'm not done living yet? How do you let go of that overwhelming lack of control? IDK, I'm just so scared when I think about it. Edit. Oh wait, you said it's in a serene way I can't really explain. Maybe someone else has an answer. It's not something you can control. You will die one day and once you are dead none of that will matter. There's no point worrying about it, something you cannot do anything about. Life is a process, like fire, burning energy to produce something numinous. When a fire goes out, we don't ask where the flame has gone. We accept it as something beautiful that has finished. The same is true of life. I believe that once we pass, our energy is used elsewhere. It could go towards another soul in another life, or it may be the end of your reincarnation cycle, and you become a guardian angel. Will we know we are guardian angels, and think like we do now? That's the part one don't understand. I'm quite spiritual, and like to believe the above. I really hope that when you die, you can do anything you'd ever wanted to do in your previous life and more. You are not limited to anything, and you can fly around Earth, marry your celebrity crush, speak to animals, whatever your imagination can conjure up. And when you're finally finished with everything, you can either reincarnate or be at peace eternally. I really hope it's like that. That sounds like Limbo in The Lovely Bones. I've always enjoyed the concept. Man, I couldn't handle that movie. Tried to watch it 3 times. I believe there is an electrochemical reaction where the electrons that move throughout our bodies are transferred to a separate dimension that vibrates at an alternate frequency and our consciousness continues on. Our souls return to the collective consciousness to be redistributed via the multiverse. I think there's nothing like closing one eye and trying to describe what you see in the closed eye. It's not darkness, it's nothing in that sense. It can be scary or comforting, depending on your character. A quote from Haruki Murakami in Norwegian wood, "Death is not the opposite of life, but an innate part of it. By living our lives, we nurture death." There are stages people have to go through before they go to heaven.